My name is Shayla, and I am super excited to be here. The talk of this TED Talk is It's Your World. This could not be more applicable to me because I've been traveling the world for the past year full time. But what I'm most excited to be here, why I'm most excited to be here, is to connect with all of you. Genuinely, I'm here because I want to inspire you and motivate you and tell you that you can do anything that you put your mind to. So you are all at the brink of your lives right now, right? You're learning a trade, you're learning a skill, maybe a degree, and then you're going to be asked to go out into the world and do something with it. It's kind of scary, I think. But, excuse me. So what I want you all to know is that you can do anything that you put your mind to. And sometimes putting your mind to something is the hardest part. So I've been traveling the world for a year. I first went to Costa Rica and taught yoga in a surf camp. Then I went to Tahoe and found random work building yurts. And if you don't know what a yurt is, it's a teepee that's a styrofoam and aluminum foil teepee, essentially. Went up to New Hampshire and worked in a hostel on the Appalachian Trail. And if you do the Appalachian Trail completely, it takes you 6 months to complete. I was just working in the hostel. Then I went to Puerto Rico, where I worked in a hotel, met my Puerto Rican boyfriend, Luis. And then we went to Nicaragua to work pub crawls. And most recently, we volunteered at a festival called Burning Man. So I understand that all of you are not interested in traveling the world. I wouldn't expect you to be. What I want to share with you are my experiences and the lessons that I've learned from traveling. There it is. And how you can apply them to your life. Also, I didn't just start off, I wasn't like, I'm going to quit my job, and I'm going to break up with my boyfriend, and I'm going to go travel the world and sell all my things. No. I was working at a restaurant, and I went to Thailand for 2 weeks here, I went to Peru a couple weeks here, and then I was like, all right, guys, I'm going to be gone for 3 months. And they were like, well, you're not going to have your job when you get back. Like, you can reapply, and if it's here, you can have it. And I was like, what? So then that's when I decided to move to Puerto Rico because I could apply for a job there and get it. And that's kind of what catapulted me into this. And moving around all the time, my friends were like, Shayla, we have no idea where you are. Can you start blogging or vlogging or something so we can keep track of you? So that's what I did. I started doing video blogs because I don't like writing. I didn't even like writing the script for this. They kept wanting a script, and I was like, I don't write. I don't know what to give you. So I started blogging. And Dave, the last speaker, actually was in one of my vlogs when he came to visit in Puerto Rico. Stay for the last speaker, he's good. And that's when Bailey, one of your professors, found the video and asked me to come talk to you guys. So here are my lessons from traveling. Inspiration versus motivation. Inspiration is what you have when you're pinning on Pinterest and when you're on Instagram and Facebook. Motivation is what's inside of you. What happens when you go for it? We'll elaborate on all of these. There's a million different ways to live. The way that you live here in South Dakota is not how people live in Florida or Germany or India. And there's no excuses, only doubts. There we go. So, number one, inspiration versus motivation. Like I said, the inspiration is online. It's everything that's inspiring you. It's today. All of the speakers here today are here to inspire you. And you're going to be, I'm inspired by the speakers here. But what happens tomorrow when you're all by yourself and you don't have us speakers cheering you on is motivation. It's what you decide to do with your goals and your dreams in your life. So if someone motivates or inspires you here today, you're like, I'm so inspired that she's living the dream she wants to live. Then turn it into motivation and decide what you can do to live the life that you want to live. This is me, cheesy me with my fedora and my mala beads and my backpacker backpack. It was the first day that I switched from inspiration to motivation. It was my first day on my way to Costa Rica. I call it like my first day of traveling the world. Okay, what happens when you go for it? So, like I said, the hardest thing is deciding what you want to do. But when you finally decide, yes, this is it, this is what I'm going to do. Networking is essential. I can't even stress how important it is. So find somebody that's doing what you're doing and start asking them questions and asking them everything. Turn them into your mentor. And in turn, they'll also be your student because they know way more about things than you do, and you can learn from them. But don't discredit yourself. You know so much that you can teach them as well. An example that I have is I got offered to go work in a festival in Bali next year. Do you think that I was just walking down the street in Lakeville, Minnesota, and someone said, hey, you look like you want to volunteer at a festival in Bali next year. No. I went to a wedding, started chatting with some people. Since I'm traveling and can be nomadic, he's like, hey, do you want to stay in Tahoe for a bit, and I'll hire you to build these yurts. And if you want, you can help volunteer at Burning Man. Awesome. At Burning Man, I met some more people, and that started talking, and they offered the thing in Bali. So when you start to do what you want to do, you put yourself in that network, and the people and the opportunities are all inside of that network. So that's why it's so important. Things will not go the way you've planned. There are so many examples of this, missing trains. And just, we recently, Luis and I, the Puerto Rican, remember? We decided to go full hippie and get a van for like the van life thing. I'm stoked. I'm like, we are homeowners. He's like, Shayla, this is a camper. This is not a home. We are going to be camping in this and traveling. I was like, all right. But we got on Craigslist to find a van, right? And we found the van. It was a big red van. I wanted to call it Clifford. He said, absolutely not. Clifford the big red van? Anyway, so then we planned to meet with this guy. And we were meeting at noon. He didn't respond to my calls. He didn't respond to my text messages. But I knew he'd be there. So we went. We drove an hour up there. And he never showed up. He didn't show up. I was like, this is it. This is the end of van life. We're never going to live in a van. And he's like, we're camping in the van. This is not moving. But the next day, he responded to my messages, and we drove all the way back up there again. Clifford was not what I was expecting. The van was terrible. But while we were there, we got another email like, hey, yeah, if you want to come look at this van, awesome. Went to the second one, and it's the van of our dreams. But really, it's great. So if the first opportunity had worked, we wouldn't have got the one that was really much, much better. So the lesson from that is, if things are falling apart on your way to your dreams, let it go. Something better is coming, and don't be like, okay, that's it. This isn't for us. We can't do this. It's just a bump in the road, and keep going, and it will all work out fantastic. Trade. Most of you, or all of you, or some of you, are learning a trade. My trades are yoga. What else do? I do videography and editing and bartending, and those are all trades that literally the word trade is exchange, right? So I've exchanged yoga for like working in the surf camp. So I lived there and they fed me. So all of you have a trade that you're learning or that you know, like me, just kind of self-taught. So think outside of the box a little bit. So maybe you change an oil trade. Maybe you changed oil, or you do the oil thing for a haircut. You exchange services, or also for money. That's a very valid trade. But just to begin to think outside of the box and how you can use your skills in a different way. That leads into, hey, this is the surf camp in Costa Rica. We lived in they called it glamping. It was camping. So millions of ways to live. I've learned from traveling that there's a million ways to live. There's a million ways to make coffee. There's a million ways to eat an orange. There's a million ways to make money. So begin to think outside of the box. At Burning Man, we met a guy they have art cars there. It's an art festival. So you build these giant cars. This guy is a welder, and his job is to make these art cars. And it was this giant rib cage that had like 12 people that sat in this car. And then he also built drum sets, but he welded this huge like wall, and that was the drum set. And like, he's a welder, but he has this cool job because he created it, and he found a need for it. I have another friend who's very handy, like a carpenter, super interested in music. So he goes on tours with bands, builds their stages, and then tears them down. So start to think a little bit differently. Think about your trades and think about your interests and how you can combine them. My world is mine. So the talk of this TEDx talk is It's Your World, right? To me that seems like very inspirational. It's your world, you can do whatever you want to do. My world is mine is, for me, more internal and more like taking charge and more motivational, right? So, going with the yogi that I am, we're all going to close our eyes. I'm going to close my eyes too, so I don't know if you're closing them or not. And you're going to think to yourself, my world is mine. Take a breath and feel it. Feel that your life is yours. Your world is yours, and you can do whatever you put your mind to. You just have to put your mind to it and start to take the steps. So one more time, think to yourself, my world is mine. Okay, you can open your eyes. You feel good, right? Maybe. Some of you started like radiating, yes, my world is mine. I can do whatever I want. Shayla's right. I'm motivated, right? Others of you started to come up with a couple excuses, which probably 90% of you were like, I don't have enough money to do really what I want to do, or I don't really have the time. I've got kids, lots of excuses. No excuses, only doubts. That's what I think. So you have kids. I've met people traveling from Alaska all the way down to Brazil in their camper van. And they teach their kids on the go, or their expats. This is me in Thailand. I traveled for 2 weeks. I went 1 week with like a group of friends, and then I went 1 week by myself. And this motorbike was $6 to rent for the day. So why wouldn't you do it, right? Well, because I was by myself, and I can drive a motorbike. Nobody wanted to go with me. I don't really know the island. Like, I don't know if I can do it. Those are all doubts, right? Because I was doubting myself. They're not excuses. Finally, I gained the courage to walk across the street, give them my $6, and go on this motorbiking excursion. It is one of the most blissful experiences that I can even remember. Like, I was 10 feet down the road. I was singing to myself. I was like talking to myself in Spanish. I was just on cloud 9. I was like, why did I wait so long for this? I stopped for gas here, and I asked this little Thai man to take my photo. Here, like, can you? And then just sit all cheesy with my But I love this photo because that's exactly what that was. I was so doubtful, and I was like, and then it was just an amazing experience. So, like I was explaining with the art cars and with the on tour, don't have doubts. You can always make a loophole. You can bring your kids along. I had friends that were like, I want to travel the world like you do, but I've got this really good job, and I know, and I'll have to find a sublease, and I've got someone that has to watch my dog, and I'll do it in May when everything's like settled. Then I have 2 friends who have to. They got laid off, and then they couldn't save up to the amount that they wanted, and guess what they did? They went anyway. They went and traveled. One went to New Zealand, and the other one is still in Brazil. And they didn't meet their goal. The excuse that they had is invalid because they still did what they wanted to do. They made it happen. But they had doubts. So, do you like that transition? That's good. Your world is yours. That's what I want you to take from this. I want you to start looking at your world in a different way, thinking about your traits, thinking about who you can start to network with. Me, connect with me. I'm here because I want to connect with all of you. I want to talk to you. We'll go here. This is a way, other than here, I'm here for till noon or 1 or whatever. I want to connect with all of you. So come up and talk to me and say, hey, Shayla, hi. And I'll be like, hey. This, living on a one-way, is what I do my video blogs on. It's a lot of this. It's kind of exactly the same as this, actually. But I've got a YouTube channel, Instagram, Facebook, anything. Or here. Talk to me, get my information, and we'll chat. But that's how you can connect with me. But if there's anything that you learn or that you take away, that I hope you take away from this, is that your world is yours. Begin to network. Stop having excuses and thinking of them as doubts and how you can overcome them. Think about your trade and realize there are a million ways to live and that it's your world. Thank you.